Hello again, everyone. Continuing New York weeks with my look at the Rangers of the NHL today, the other very successful team in in New York in the sport of hockey. The Islanders, like I talked about yesterday, are a very good team, very young team, and are going to be good for a long while. And I think the Rangers are going to be a good team for a long while coming as well because they have a good mix of young talent as well as veterans in the Rangers. The Islanders are a little bit younger, not a little bit, a lot younger than the Rangers with their entire roster. Their entire roster is young, but successful teams who remain successful for numerous years and are continuously in the playoffs and making deep runs in the playoffs have a solid mix of young talent as well as veterans. The Rangers definitely have that. Last year, their 53-22-7 record, 113 points, speaks for itself. This is definitely one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, and I definitely see them having the ability to have another 50-win season this upcoming year. Looking at the draft, they didn't have any first-round draft picks. The first draft pick they had was the 41st overall pick, where they drafted left winger Ryan Gropp. Not exactly sure how you pronounce his last name, but that's who they drafted with their first pick in the draft, 41st overall. 62nd overall, they drafted Ryan Kovacs, who's a right winger. And then with their 79th pick, they drafted Sergei Zabrovsky, who is a defenseman. So those are the guys that they've drafted this past year, which will probably make an impact on the team in maybe 2-3 years. I don't think any of them will crack the opening day roster for this team. Maybe they will. Maybe Grope or Kovacs will be a surprise and have an opportunity to play with the big club this year. But they have a lot of young talent and a lot of veterans that I think are going to allow these guys to develop and mature in the minor leagues for a couple seasons, and then come the end of the decade, that's when you see these guys coming up to the big club and making an impact then. When you look at this team, like I said, a lot of young guys. I'll start with them first. You got Hayes, Kreider, Miller, Steppen. Those are going to be the main guys that are going to take this team into the future and have them be successful for years to come. When you look at Hayes, he was born in 92, 17 goals, 28 assists last year. And then you have Kreider, who had 21 goals, 25 assists, and a plus 24 rating last year. Fantastic numbers from him. Miller was born in 93. He's the youngest out of this group. Had 10 goals, 13 assists in 58 games he played in. And then Steppen is the oldest of this group, and he was born in 1990. So I say the oldest, but he's still a 90s baby. He had 16 goals and 39 assists last season for this team. So a lot of talent there. You also have Emerson Etem and Jesper Fast, who were born in 92 and 91 respectively. Etem had 5 goals and 5 assists in the 45 games he played in, and Fast had 6 goals and 8 assists in the 58 games he played in. So definitely a lot of talent on this team. I'm expecting big things from JT Miller. He was the 15th overall pick back in 2011. He is the younger out of this group of young players that they have, but I definitely think he'll have a larger impact on this team towards the end of this decade. I think Hayes, Kreider, Steppen, they all have the skills and the ability to be 20-plus goal scorers. Wouldn't surprise me to see Kreider have a 30-goal season this upcoming year. I know we only had 21 last year, but it wouldn't shock me to see him have 30 goals. Another great plus 24 rating from him last year. I could definitely see that happening for him again. 25 assists, so he's also finding the open man to get those goals. That's important. He can go and score 30 goals, probably 20 assists. I think he's a 50-point guy, no problem. Same with Hayes. Last year he had 45 points, so 50-point season isn't going to be a stretch for him. And Steppen last year had a 55-point season. I could see him, having another solid year. 16 goals, 39 assists for him. So he's more of an assist guy. I could see him having a 50-assist season for this team. And I know I'm sounding very, very high on these guys, but that's because I am, because they got a lot of good veterans to learn from. And guys like Nash and Stahlberg and Zuccarello, who, by the way, I love just as a name for a hockey player, just like I said yesterday with Clutterbuck for the Islanders, just as a hockey name, Zuccarello is a sick hockey name. I love that name for a hockey player. But these young guys that I mentioned, have those veterans to learn from and have as role models, and they are still playing very, very well. Nash, 42 goals, 27 assists, plus 29 rating last year. Fantastic season from him. Zuccarello had 15 goals and 34 assists. Derek Brassard had 19 goals and 41 assists. I didn't mention him, but I should have. Great veterans on this team that these guys are going to learn from and have another very, very solid season going again forward. Does Rick Nash have a 50-goal season left in him? I'm not sure if he does. I think he can easily have another 40-goal season. Again, with these young guys that are around him, they're going to find a way to get him the puck, and he's going to find those opportunities to get into situations where he can score some goals for this team for sure. So I'm not quite sure he has a 50-goal season left in him. Another 40-goal season, I don't see that as something that he can't obtain. Zuccarello had 15 goals, 34 assists last year. Maybe he can be another 20-goal scorer. I think the goal scoring on this team is very diverse. I think there's numerous guys in this roster that are going to have 20-plus goal seasons. I don't think you're limited to just having 2 or 3 players that are going to have 30-plus goal seasons, and then you're going to have a half a dozen that have 10 to 15 goals. I think you're going to have a half a dozen guys have 20-plus goals. Nash is going to have a 40-plus goal season again, in my opinion. I think that's definitely something he can obtain. And then you have a lot of guys that have 20-goal seasons. Looking at the defense, they're a little older. That's where the youth kind of stops, is with the defense. So I was a little surprised to see them not take a defenseman with that 41st and 62nd overall pick. Thought they might have gone that way. But again, even with free agency, the Rangers are going to be a team that are going to be highly, desirable for free agents to go to. So if they need to get some young defensemen in here, they can do it through free agency. They don't have to do it through the draft. And although they might not be young guys, they're also not really, really old guys either. You got McDonough and Mark Stahl, who are 89 and 87 born respectively. McDonough had 8 goals, 25 assists, plus 23 last year. Mark Stahl, 5 goals, 15 assists, plus 18. Very, very solid numbers from those two guys. You also have Chris Summers, who was born in 88, who had 3 assists in the 17 games he played in. We'll see if he gets some more playing time this year. Rafael Diaz just played in 56 games, 2 goals, 2 assists from him. Then you get to your veterans with Dan Girardi, Kevin Klein, who had a fantastic season for this team, as did Dan Boyle and Keith Yandle. Yandle had 4 goals, 37 assists, so he can be a 50-point defenseman for this team. I think he has that ability to do that. Kevin Klein, 9 goals, 17 assists, plus 24 rating. Fantastic defenseman for this team. I think a 30-point season for him is definitely something that can happen. Dan Boyle, although he was born in 76 and is reaching the end of his career, still produced 9 goals, 11 assists, plus 18 rating. Great veteran guy for guys like McDonough to learn from. And even though he might not be a forward, it's still a good veteran guy to have as a leader in your locker room for all the young forwards on this team as well. And still had a 20-point season, so maybe he'll finish his career with another 20-point season. See them make another deep playoff push. But the Rangers are a very, very exciting team. I really like this team. Hockey in New York is very, very successful. If you're an Islanders fan or a Rangers fan, you should be very happy because these teams are not just successful today. They are going to be successful for years to come because of the youth that they have and the veterans that they have on their team. They have built their teams to be successful today as well as tomorrow and into 2020 and beyond. Lastly, with the Rangers, you can have all these great players, but it comes down to the guy you have between the pipes as well. Lundqvist, amazing goaltender. Although he's born in 82, a little bit of a veteran, he definitely can still play very, very well. 30-13-3 record from him last year, 2.25 GAA with a 922 save percentage. He did only play in 46 games, so hopefully any injuries that he had last year, that won't happen, and he'll be able to not necessarily even bounce back. He had injuries, but it's not like he has to bounce back because the games he did play in, he played fantastic. 922 save percentage is great. Like I've said in the past, if you want to be a goaltender in the NHL and stay in the NHL, your save percentage has to be at least 900. You get it over the 920, you're looking at elite goaltenders, and Lundqvist is definitely an elite goaltender, in my opinion. Ronta is their backup goaltender. He had a 7-4-1 last year in the 14 games he played in. He had a 1.89 GAA, which is ridiculous. Anytime you can get a GAA under 2, that is fantastic. And a 936 saves percentage. So again, his numbers are better than Lundqvist, but you have to look at it with a bit of a grain of salt because he only played in 14 games. Lundqvist, though, is a fantastic goaltender, can lead this team into the playoffs and to make a deep playoff push. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Stanley Cup raised in New York come the end of this upcoming season, whether that be the Rangers hoisting the cup or the Islanders hoisting the cup. I definitely think that you got a 1-2 combination here in hockey for the NHL with the Rangers and the Islanders, 2 very, very good teams. Those are my thoughts on the Rangers, though. Tomorrow I'll be looking at the Devils, the New Jersey Devils, a team that kind of struggles compared to the Rangers and the Islanders. They are the team that is struggling, but a lot of good things to look forward to with the Rangers. And yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at gham614. I do appreciate all the support, and I will follow back. I promise on that. Thank you again, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye bye.